obviously you would have seen the news now. Paul's announced his retirement after 132 games. Anzac Day medal, 13 B in AFC in 2021, and in the 40-man All-Australian squad then. Nixie's here to, and a bit of support and answer any questions you've got, but we'll leave it footy talk to Friday because he'll do his usual weekly precedent. So, but over to you guys whenever you're ready.
Sedo, how'd you come to this decision?
I had to see the AFL concussion panel a couple of weeks ago, and so the recommendation from them was to cease all contact sport, and it's sort of been on the cards for a while, I suppose. I still haven't been able to really progress in any meaningful training. I haven't ran all year. I might have done one jog sometime in January or February, and football requires you to do a bit more than that. So from that sense, that I knew the end was coming, and I suppose that's how we ended up here.
Actually hearing those final words though, what was that like?
Yeah, reading the report, I don't know. I sort of had an inkling going into it. Obviously, I know myself. I knew where I was at, and even if the recommendation was I could still play, I probably would have been surprised, to be honest, if they had said that I was allowed to return, and I still would have retired anyway from that front, because as I said, I just haven't been able to do what I need to do to be a professional sportsman, and now I've got a young family, and they're the priority. I've got to get myself healthy so I can look after them.
How are you going with everything, Sedo? How's your health now?
Still got the battles. There's some recommendations that have come from the concussion panel, so we'll put them into place. I've got a meeting tomorrow with a neurologist to get those rolling, and hopefully try these new migraine injections to see if we can get some relief from the headaches. But yeah, symptomatic still on a daily, almost constant occurrence. So I look forward to a life where, or hopefully to a life where that's not the case.
What are the recommendations? Are you able to share them?
I'm going to go along, so I can't remember the name of the drug, but it's a migraine injection that you get once a month for 6 months, and there'll be some sort of rehab sort of clinic that I'll have to potentially go through. We're working through all the what that looks like at the moment, so I'll know more after tomorrow, I suppose.
So what are the symptoms like? What's a day of symptoms like for you?
Oh, mate, there's all kinds of things. As I said, the headaches are always there. You've got dizziness, the short-term memory sort of stuff, the depression, anxiety. What else is there? There's a whole range of things that still occur. Basically all the time. It's just sort of to what degree. It varies. Some days are better than others. Unfortunately, the last couple of months have probably been, or not probably, they've definitely been a lot worse than good days. But the last week, I've been feeling okay. So I'd like to see the end of it and get back to being healthy and the person that I was, so that I can move forward and look to do something in the future.
Have you got an indication that that's all possible?
Oh, look, I don't know. It's concussion. There's so much unknown about it still, which is something that I've sort of understood more as we've gone along. It's not an easy thing. It's really complicated. No two cases are the same. I've spoken to a lot of the boys that have had troubles throughout their career, that have come good, that haven't come good, and we all have our differences in the struggles, and I can do some things that other people can't do, and vice versa. So hopefully, I'm optimistic, and I want to get on the other side and move forward with my life.
You mentioned that you would have made that decision regardless of the doctors. At what point did you sort of make that realisation that regardless of what they say, you're probably going to have to retire?
When did I have that realisation? I don't know. I sort of had conversations with the club throughout the year, obviously checking in with where I'm going and what I've been able to achieve. And each time I sort of was falling further and further behind the eight ball. I knew my contract was obviously running out at the end of this year, and I was in no position to even try to get another contract. As much as I'd love to keep playing, and such an exciting group here, and I think we're on a really good trajectory as a club, and I'd love nothing more than to be a part of that. But it was just it was alarmingly clear that there was never going to be an option.
Do you still have the support of the club? Like, even though you're not officially on the list, would you still have access to sort of AFL medical programs and doctors and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, as far as I know, as long as Nixie keeps having me around, as far as I'm aware, the club's been nothing short of super. They've been with me the whole way through, ridden the highs and lows, and we're never stopping trying to find what works, and eventually we'll find something that works.
What was
hopefully.
like?
Yeah, it's the hardest thing I've done in a long, long time. It was quite emotional, but it was something that I'm glad that I did. I was stewing on it for a while, whether I should do it. You go through whether you deserve to do it. At the end of the day, I played 132 games. It's not the career that some people have, but that was my journey, and it got cut short in the way that it did. So I thought it was important for me to share a bit of that with the boys and wish them best for the future.
I think you said in the statement, it's been made even trickier by the trajectory of the team. It must have been pretty tough the last couple of years. Pretty exciting group, and heading in the right direction. Yeah,
I did struggle. I didn't watch a lot of football in 2022. Like I tried, and I'd watch some, and I'd try and go to the games, but I didn't get to many. And this year, it started off tricky again. Like I probably was avoiding going into games, but my family and that was saying, I think it's important to get in there, and I decided to do it, and it helped that we had a couple of milestone games as well with Tex and Sloaney and that, and each time that I went in there, I just love it more, and this year I've just been a footy buff again, a footy nut. I watch our boys play every week, obviously, and I watch a lot of the other games as well. I've got back to really enjoying it, and it was very special every time I'd go into the game. I was a little bit nervous about going into the rooms before the game because I haven't seen everyone like I used to, and pretty quickly realised not much changes. They come up, big smile on their face, give you a hug, and I got a lot out of it personally.
What would you like to do next, Cedar?
I'd like to get my health right. That's first and foremost. I haven't even given thought to the possibilities yet. I love football, potentially staying in football if I can ever get to there. I enjoy elements of business as well. So just, I don't know, once I get my health, then I'll focus more on that.
So on a daily basis, you touched on the symptoms. Are you able, can you watch telly? Can you drive a car?
Yeah. Some days are worse than others, but yeah, I can do that. I don't watch a heap of telly. Do a lot more with Cammy and Alice, but yeah, try and get out and play a little bit of golf and things like that. So it's a bizarre one. At the start, I could hardly get out of bed for the first couple of months. I can do that. Some days I can't, and there's no rhyme or reason. Some are worse than others. Sometimes it's days on end. Sometimes it's hours. I don't know. It just sort of, it's so different from a day-to-day basis. Sometimes I have some of the symptoms, other times I don't. Other things that I do provoke certain symptoms. And so, I've just got to try and do what I can in that day to try and get closer to recovery.
Are you taking a more wide interest in concussion around the league now? I saw Paddy a couple of days ago, Max Lynch last week or the week before. It's pretty prevalent and like a more bigger picture. How do you feel about concussion in footy?
Yeah, obviously, man, and that's the thing. From when I started to now, there's been a huge shift. I'd hate to think of if I was going through this 13 years ago. It's 2010. It's not all that long ago. I don't know that I would have received the same support potentially because it was treated a bit flippantly. You sort of got a concussion, you just sort of wore it and you go, oh, well, I'll be back next week. You never saw it as anything other than that. So I think we're trending in the right direction, but we've got a long way to go. It's a contact sport, so unfortunately the risk is there, and there's the potential, but no one. I didn't sign up to play footy to finish or end up like this. It goes well beyond the football field, which I don't think it should for anyone. So hopefully, we can find some measures, and hopefully there's not too many blokes that end up in the same situation, and we can, start helping it a bit more.
Nixie, it was a big deal when Cedo came over. We all think of him as sort of the Collingwood Anzac Day legend, but he obviously played more games for Adelaide here than he did for the Black and Whites. Could you just touch on his impact for the Adelaide Footy Club in the time he's been here, please?
Yeah, I mean, Cedo's impact on field is what most people see, but it's more to that. It's a lot more than that. And this morning was an emotional morning because we all feel for what Paul's going through, and we'd love to be able to help, and it's just a tough situation. And retirements are always really challenging. They're an emotional time, but today was another level again. But the moment Paul walks into the room, he brings a smile to everyone's face. Whenever you talk about Cedo, he's a real character. He enjoys to talk. He's an extremely smart human being. I mean, we had aims of maybe getting into coaching at a point. So, as Cedo said, we are all about his health now, and we'll do whatever we can as a footy club to support that. And there's still a lot we need to get to understand. There's still a lot of experts looking at it that don't know it inside out yet. But the footy club will be there for him right the way through. And if his health comes back, then there'll be a position there, because there's not many that have a footy brain like Paul does. He challenged me in the first 12 months of being a coach of this footy club, and made me a much better coach in that first 12 months, and also made me a better person. So it was nice today to be able to recognise that, as well as hear some good stories, some fun stories on what Cedo had done across his journey. But yeah, it was a big loss for us on the field, and an even bigger loss off the field. That he won't be here, but he'll definitely be around with us, supporting us in some way.
What do you think, seeing the way he's toiled away and kept the hope the last couple of years, what sort of message do you think that sent to the playing group and others?
I think the respect he has from our playing group, and probably more than just our playing group, across the league, the way he's held himself and the challenges he's gone through, you could see it in the room, or you could feel it in the room today. There's a lot of support and a lot of emotion there for him. We want all the best that can possibly come from this. We want him to recover. It's a really tough one. It's a really tough area in not just our game. It's right across sport internationally, and it's something we're looking into. And that's probably the sad part of our game, is that it is a contact sport, and sometimes there are incidents that you just don't plan for, and this is one of them.
All good.
I was just going to one more sentimental one. How important is the young family been in supporting you over the last couple of years?
Yeah, massive. Yeah. My wife been there the whole time, and unfortunately it's been the whole time I've been married. I got married about 3 weeks after the incident, so I don't think she realised what she signed up for. I've been quite irritable, I could say, and the mood's up and down, and she's just been a massive pillar of strength for me, and she's looked after me so well. And then to have Cammy, it just changes your whole perspective, and it really was a godsend. It was just a perfect timing, and that's what I got to look forward to from here.